Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to make this subscribe button, but this time it's going to be a little different. You're going to be able to change the text and the color of the end caps in the inspector to the right. It's a free preset down in the description below. Make sure you grab that if you want it. If you want to watch the whole tutorial, learn how to make it, and we're going to make a macro at the end. This is made to work on a minimum of 10-second timeline. I am at a frame rate of 30 frames per second. I'll give you a quick rundown here before we get started. We got 4 text boxes, one for each side. So you can use this for other things too, not just a subscribe button. So you can change the color of the text. You got your V anchors, everything you normally need. Change the color of the caps. You have the spotlight intensity here. And there's a point light as well. So depending on the color of your text, you can adjust that accordingly. You can move the point light left and right, up and down, as you can the spotlight as well. Okay, let's get into it. Up in the media pool on the edit page, right click. New Fusion composition. We'll extend that to 10 seconds. You can name it if you like, but you don't have to. Bring it on down to your timeline and head into Fusion. Start with the background node. Select the background node. Let's drag them both into the 2 viewers. And bring the alpha all the way down. Okay, we won't need them for a little while. Click away right about here, make sure nothing's selected. Render, 3D camera, spotlight. Sorry, this is the 3D render. Meant to say merge here. Click away right about here. Shift spacebar. And type in cube. Pipe it in the merge. With the cube node selected, go in the inspector under materials. Where it says face, should say front, we're going to make all these white. Right side, left side, the back should be white already. Just go right on down the line and make them all white. Select the camera node. In the inspector under transform, select use target. Go up to translation, Z-axis, and we'll move the camera back. You'll see in the right viewer. That's good for now. Now go to the render node. Select lighting and shadows. And now we have no lighting. That's because our light is inside the cube. Now select the spotlight node. Same thing in the inspector under transform. Select use target. That way both the camera and the spotlight, no matter where we move it, will point directly at our project. Then go to translation, Z-axis, and bring the camera or the light back. I have to use this drop-down window to move around the viewer 1. You guys, if you have a middle mouse wheel, that's supposed to work the best. I don't have that on my controller. I have a handicap controller, is why. You can also move the camera or the lights or anything like that with these little handles. I find them very intuitive, and it's, to me, a lot easier than using the dials over there. With the spotlight node selected, in the inspector, we'll open the cone up. Somewhere about there. Now go to the cube node. Under controls, in the inspector, uncheck the lock width, length and depth, or height, width, length, height, and depth. Set the width to 4.0, leave the height and the depth at 1. For now anyways. Back to the camera node. In the inspector, under translation again, we'll take that Z-axis, we'll pull the camera back farther. So you have something like that. We're going to pull down 4 merge nodes. Grab a background node. Go to the inspector. We'll change the color to red. When it's all said and done, you can make it any color you want. Connect that background into each one of the merges. Grab a rectangle node from a toolbar. Pipe it in the background. Select the rectangle. In the inspector, select invert. Let's take this merge one, right click it. Bring it down to the cube, let go, and select front. Next one down, same thing. And we'll select top. Next one, we'll select back. And the last one, we'll select bottom. Nothing goes on the right and left. Once again, select the rectangle node in the inspector. Take the height all the way to the right. The width. And adjust it to right about there for now. We can always change it if we need to. Okay, now we'll grab a text plus node. Pipe it into the top merge, merge one. And type in whatever you like. I'm going to put subscribe in. It can always be changed later in the edit page in the inspector. I'm going to go with Arial for the font because I'm pretty sure that's what they normally use for a subscribe button. And I'm going to select regular. And if you look up in the viewer 2, you'll see our text is up there. Go to viewer 1 for a minute. Let's turn the checker underlay off for a minute. Now if you look, it's not really proportioned well. So if you go to transform, size, the Y value, it'll make the text taller. We're going to set it right at probably 2. You can use the V anchor to center it, or come up here, the center X and Y. Y will move it vertically, X will move it horizontally. But mine looks good right there, so I'll leave it. Select the cube node. In the inspector, under transform, under rotation, X value will rotate it to the top. Okay, now we'll copy that text node. That way we carry the same font and everything on over. We just have to change the the text in the box. Right click, copy. Click away, right here. Right click and paste. We see how we carried everything right over. It says the same thing. I'm going to change that to like and share. It's a little big, so we'll make it smaller. Once again, if it's not centered, you can use your V anchors, or the under layout, you can use the center value. Okay, we'll copy that text node. Click away right here and paste. Select the cube node. Back in the inspector. Rotation, X value, we'll rotate it again another 90 to somewhere around 180. Now this one's upside down, so we're going to have to use a transform. With the transform node selected, in the inspector with the flip horizontally, and then vertically. And we'll change the text again. So back to the text node. I'm going to put notifications. We can always come back and reline these up when we check it out better, but mine is looking good so far. So once again, right click that text node. Copy. Click away. Paste. Tighten the merge. Go to the cube node and rotate it to somewhere around 270. Doesn't have to be right on. We're not going to keyframe it quite yet. We just need to see it. All right, now I'm going to put DaVinci in. You can put whatever you'd like. I can make that text a little larger. Let's go back to the cube node and rotate this again and take a look at what we have. We'll click that little dot, go back to 0. Second one's still a little bit large. On mine anyways. There we go. Okay. I'm going to readjust my camera to my liking. You can follow along exactly what I'm doing or adjust yours however you'd like. You can also do that in the inspector in the edit page later. With the spotlight node selected in the inspector under translation, X value, I'm going to move it more to the right. You'll see it in viewer 1. Okay, with the camera node selected, go up in the inspector under translation, X value, move it to the right, and you'll see it in viewer 1. I want to show some of the 3D-ish of it. And we can always come back to this later. If we don't like what we see, we can change it. Okay, now let's keyframe this so it's animated. Select the cube node. Put your playhead at frame 0. Reset the rotation X value to 0 and then set a keyframe. I am on a 30 frame per second timeline. I will mention that at the beginning when I edit this. I should have done that. So that's 1 second for me. Now I'm going to set another keyframe first. So keyframe at 0, a keyframe at 30 frames, and now we're going to move ahead 60 frames to 90. Now we'll rotate the rotation X value to 90 to the right. I can see it a little better without the checker underlay. Okay, now we'll go ahead 60 more frames, which will be 2 seconds, to 150. Back again in the inspector, rotation, X value, rotate it to 180. Okay, now we'll advance to 210. If you have a different frame rate, you'll have to adjust accordingly. Now we want to go to the inspector, same thing, rotate it to 270. Now we want to move ahead 60 more frames to 270. and go back to the inspector under rotation, X value once again, and take it to 360. Now right now it should just rotate. That's not what we want, so up here at the top, open your spline. If half your spline window is closed like mine, the little window up here, select that, and that'll open it up. Make sure you select this cube and X rotation. Then go over here to zoom to fit. You can select all a couple different ways. You can highlight them all. Probably already know that. Or down here, you can just select this little box of button here. And then hit F on your keyboard. That will flatten them all. And then hit T as in Tom. It'll open up these little ease in, ease out. Hit that lock. We'll rotate this from 33 to 60. With the lock, it does both sides, the ease in and ease out at the same time. Go ahead and close your spline. Submerge your render into your background. Take your media out into Viewer 2. Go to Edit Page. Turn your render cache on. It's going to be fairly slow. Little trick for that. Go back down to Fusion. Select your render node. Open that back up by clicking that top button. Change your render type from software render to hardware render. And transparency from ZBuffer to quicksort. Now you'll see you have two nodes corrupted. Just deselect the shadows because it just will not render out shadows. Back to the edit page. Now it'll render out much quicker, as you see. Let's throw a solid color generator under there. Make sure it's transparent. The text is not real visible, so go back to Fusion. We're going to add a point light to this. So select that merge node. Hit Shift Spacebar. Type in point. And you'll see at the top point light. With it selected, up in the inspector, under transform, we're going to move the light to the front. And if you look in viewer 1, you can see it moving out towards us. And now you can see the text is starting to get brighter. We're also going to make that so you can move that around in the on the edit page as well. And make it so the light's adjustable, because every different color requires a little bit different color or different brightness of light. I'm going to adjust my light a little bit and maybe the camera some more. I'm going to go up a little bit so it hits the top of it a little more. This is all personal preference. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, now let's make the macro. We're going to rename a few nodes here first. The background node, we're going to name that caps color. I'm going to call mine end caps color. As you see with it selected. You can change the colors right there. You'll be able to do that on the edit page as well. But we'll leave it as red for default. Take the third text down, well, the second one. This one right here, we're going to change it to text 2. Third one down, we'll name it text 3. And you probably guessed it, we're going to name the fourth one text 4. Hold down the control button. Once you've selected all them nodes, then hit A as in apple on the keyboard. That will select all of them. And right click on one. Go up to macro. Create macro. And give it a name. I'm going to call mine Square Tube Text Replace Sub Button number 2 because I already have one in there. Okay, we'll get started. Just follow along here. Under layout, just type as center as all. Under transform, we just want the character size Y. Nothing shading. And we'll do the next 3 exactly the same. Okay, now we're gonna go to the end cap color. Go to color. Select all them. Where it says type in end cap color. Now go to spotlight. We only need the X and the Y value. In front of the X, type in spotlight. Be sure to leave the X there. Select use target. Now under controls, we only want to select enabled and intensity and put spotlight in front of enable and intensity. Now the point light. Same thing, X and Y value. Type in point light in front of the X. And select use target. Now go to controls, enable and intensity. And type in point light in front of both of them. Go to media out. Select input. You have to have one input and one output. Looks like we're done. Go up to File in the top left corner. Select Save As Group. I'm going to save it right next to my other one. Then you can close the macro. I'll show you how to put it in Resolve in case you don't know. Go to Templates, Edit, Titles. I have my own folder made here for testing these out. Right click and hit Show Folder. I just copied and pasted it so it stays in the other folder. Now go to Edit Page. This one we just made. Remember, a minimum of 10 seconds. Grab a generator, put underneath it. And if you look in the inspector, everything's right there. Change all your text. Color. Got the Y value here in case you need to make it taller or shorter. Not going to spend too much time on all this. You can figure it all out. Spotlight. X value, you can move it left and right. Up or down. Intensity. And the point light, same thing. The intensity is right down here at the bottom. Fully customizable. You can use it for way more than a subscribe button. You can also size this right up here. Just go to Settings in the inspector. So you're going to move it down there like that. You can do pretty much anything you want with it. cache isn't rendered out at the moment. And to reset it, just double click on them. Well, there you go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.